When hockey ended, I didn't just lose the sport. I lost exactly who I was. I didn't really know who I was without it. I stepped away, and honestly, I was absolutely lost. It was ridiculous. There was always another game, there was always another season, and there was always something else to chase. And then there was nothing. And all of a sudden, the thoughts started catching up to me. My emotions, the so-called fears, they started to creep in. And then I started going down a path that wasn't exactly aligned with who I wanted to become. And no one really prepares you for what happens after the sport ends. This is a story about how I went from playing junior hockey to working in the trades, to traveling the world, to coming home with no money to my name, taking a bet on myself that not a lot of people would do, and coming out on the other side, better than ever, shifting my identity and a completely different person on the path to help other ex-athletes and athletes of any kind to do the exact same thing I did. That is my mission. My name is Owen Ryder-Ditzel. I'm 21 years old from Nelson, British Columbia. And growing up wasn't easy for me. I grew up in a very hardworking household. I had two self-employed parents. My dad owned a restaurant and my mom did Chinese medicine. The easy route wasn't an option. I always had to work really hard for anything I got from a very young age. And I hated it at the time. I was known as the kid that always had to do chores. Whenever my friends would come over, they would have to do chores with me in order for me to go out and play. But looking back now, I am forever grateful for the opportunity my parents gave me and the lessons they taught me at such a young age. I didn't just play hockey growing up, I played everything. Soccer, baseball, did taekwondo, and when you get to that point as a kid, 15 years old, you have to make a choice to pursue hockey. So I moved away from home at 15, and I loved it. Hockey gave me discipline, it gave me structure, it gave me an identity, and it also gave me a family. Whether it was my second billet family when I was in Kelowna or Port Alberni or in Saskatchewan, or it was also the team, the boys, the brotherhood. They were my second family, and it gave me something that I've never really had before. It was a group of friends that all had the same mission, that were all on the same path, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. But looking back, it also really shaped my identity. Like, I wasn't just Owen. I was a hockey player, and I never really stopped to think who I would be without it, because honestly, I never thought the day would come. Little quick rundown of my hockey career. I moved away from home at, 15 years old, and it was a pretty crazy year. Within a span of 1 year, I adopted my brother, Levi. He was my best friend, and his mom passed away. Then my parents split up, and I moved away 4 hours away from my hometown, and then my mom suffered a neurological injury from the COVID vaccine, all within a span of a year. And it was crazy. And looking back now, I could sit here and tell you guys that that's the reason that I'm not still playing hockey. But honestly, that's not going to get me anywhere. If I were to sit here and tell myself that COVID or me having 4 coaches in 1 year or my mom getting hurt, not having enough finances is the reason I didn't make it in hockey, there's no, in what benefit is that doing to me? I'm just playing victim of my own story. And there's no point of playing victim in your own story because it doesn't actually benefit you. Yes, it sucks, some things that's happened, and I wish I could take things back. I wish I could have been more focused. I was so consumed about what I didn't have at the time when I moved away and all the things that happened to me that it took away from the big picture. I wasn't looking at where I was going to be anymore. I was too focused on how good the other kids were around me or what I was actually doing. And none of that was benefiting where I was going in my life. Hockey came to a point for me where there was so many external factors controlling my life, and I was just sick of it. I wasn't sure where I was going to be playing the next season. I wasn't sure if I was good enough. All the self-doubt, all the coaches telling me I wasn't good enough, or my family telling me I was good enough, people telling me how much potential I had, but not actually showing anything for it. So I made a decision to step away. When I was 19, I came home and I was working for a roofing company for the last 4 years throughout that time, and I decided to just go all in with that. And I was making good money. I was making like $45 an hour, and you can't really complain. I'm a 19-year-old kid, right? And I was the foreman of the crew. It was good. I was getting paid well. I did enjoy my job. It wasn't the worst. But I realized I was just stuck in this trap. Like, this was everything I ever knew. Roofing was everything I ever knew. I was working really hard during the week. I was still running. I was going to the gym every single day. Like, my routine was in check. But I was living for the weekends, and I wasn't actually building my own future. I remember one day I was sitting in the truck, and this was like the biggest turning point for me. I got home from work around 5 o'clock and I woke up in the truck at around 9:30 p.m. And I just thought to myself, what the fuck am I doing with my life, Owen? Like, did it really come to this? Like, this is ridiculous. I have all this discipline, I have all this work ethic, and I have the skills, and I have the drive to do anything. But I was putting it, like, all my eggs in the wrong basket. So I made a decision, and I booked a one-way flight to Southeast Asia with my two buddies, and unfortunately, after 2 weeks, they both ended up having to go home, and I'm not gonna lie, if they didn't come with me, I would have never booked a solo trip. And I'm so glad they did, and I'm so glad things turned out how they did, because honestly, that trip changed my perspective, it changed my identity. Because being alone in another country forces you to figure out who you are, and you have to stop hiding from yourself, especially with posting social media. I didn't really know where I was going to go at the start with it. I was posting travel content, I was posting fitness content, and then I realized that I'm posting for a reason. I'm posting to make an impact, and I'm posting to change lives. And this is why I'm like so dialed in with myself. Anyway, I'm not saying that to brag, but I've realized that at the end of the day, the only thing stopping you is yourself. And in order to be able to like control your limiting beliefs and control your emotions, you have to be locked in mentally. And you have to have such a clear picture of where you want to go. And what I like to call it is like the 2.0 version of myself. Like every morning, if I'm struggling, because there are some mornings where I sleep and I don't want to get out of bed. But in that situation where I don't want to get out of bed, I have such big ambitious goals. Like I'm going to make $250,000 and give it directly to my mom because I love her and I want to take care of her, and that's what it's going to take to be able to take care of her health care. But the thing that wakes me up in the morning isn't just the external emotional driver of taking care of my mom. It's that I have such a well-painted picture of the version of myself I want to become that in no way do I have time to make excuses. I just ask myself, would the 2.0 version of myself get out of bed and do the hard thing? The answer is always yes. Fast forward 3 months, I was in Vietnam all alone, and I came to a conclusion that no one's coming to save me. It was terrifying. I started journaling every single day, but I had some pretty dark thoughts over there. Thought about giving up. I hit probably the lowest of the low I've ever hit in my life. There was some really negative thoughts in there, and I wanted to give up. Like on life itself. And it wasn't easy to get through that, but I am so glad I did. And the biggest thing that got me through it was knowing that my entire life was completely in my control. I had a realization when I first met my mentor, Joe. I'm going to be honest, like I had a call with him, and I got off the call and I called my mom bawling my eyes out. And I told her, I was like, I just had a call with this guy and he told me that I'm never going to make it, and that I have all these ambitious goals and I haven't done anything. Like, what am I doing? I'm just a failure. And I couldn't sleep for the next 3 days. I realized that everything he was saying was true. Because when you think about it, time, money, they're external factors. If I wanted to make more money, I just need to get a better job or work harder, right? And I can't make time as an excuse because everyone's got the same 24 hours in the day. And he helped me realize that I had a big goal and I haven't done anything to get there. And that was the flip. That was the switch that needed to be flipped for me to actually make a change in my life. And I am forever grateful for that conversation with Joe. There was a point in my trip when I was in Bali, to be exact, and I feel like I shifted identities in a way. If you were to know me or ask any of my friends growing up at high school, I couldn't be alone. I was scared to be alone in my own thoughts. I was always hanging out with people. I was genuinely never alone because I was scared of facing my own thoughts and my own words. And I don't know, it just wasn't, it was terrifying. It was terrifying. And there was that moment in Bali. I was just sitting in bed one day and I came back from the gym and I realized it's all up to me. I need to make a change. And if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be me. No one's coming to save me. So I decided to just completely shift my mindset, and I was journaling every single day. I was screaming affirmations in the mirror. You know, I think that does some stuff. Some people might not. But it changed me. And that realization that the only thing stopping me was myself, it did it all. That's all the information I needed to do to actually go all in and take a bet on myself. But being in Bali opened my eyes up. Seeing other people living the dream life that I wanted to live forced me to make a change in my own. I want to help people. Like that's why I'm doing this. Like I want to help people. That's why I post content. I want to show people that you can achieve anything you want. It just comes down to believing yourself. A lot of people ask me what I'm doing. Well, right now I am mentoring and coaching people. I'm doing content full time, and I'm helping others get out of their own way, whether they're an ex-athlete or not. Because at the end of the day, the only thing stopping you is yourself. And the biggest thing that I love about ex-athletes, so you already have the drive, you already have the work ethic, and you have the discipline. You just don't have the guidance in your life. Like you don't know what to do with everything you have. But you need to realize you have a skill. Everyone has a skill, whether it's public speaking, whether it's sales, whether it's content creation, whether it's art. You have a skill. Or maybe it's your work ethic. Like your work ethic is a skill. A lot of people don't have that. You can't teach work ethic. You can teach someone sales, you can teach someone how to read a book, but you can't teach someone work ethic. My mission is to create the next path, the third path you could say, and create a roadmap for ex-athletes or students leaving high school that don't really want to go down the traditional route. Because there is a third option. It's entrepreneurship. You just need to shift your mindset and shift your identity to become an entrepreneur and to become the successful version of yourself. And you'll do it. You'll achieve anything. I'm building the third path and building Ascend because it's what I didn't have. And it's something I wish I had when I stepped away from the sport. I wish I had the guidance. I wish I had the support. I wish I had the community. And it's really not there, and it's such a big problem that no one really talks about. And that's the problem I'm trying to solve. The identity crisis after sport, or any period in life. And I also want to help others live their dream life. And I'm a firm believer that content creation is the gateway to that. Anyway, I hope you got some sort of value from this video. I don't really know what I'm doing with YouTube yet, but we're going to start pumping it out.